Alright guys, in this video series I'm going to be showing how to have your own dedicated server in the house or wherever you want to have it. The best thing to do is to use a computer with Xeon processor. This is Z600 workstation, and it has Xeon processor. You can see the specification in the description below. I'm not going to go through that details right now. What I want to show you first is because this I already have 6 terabytes of hard disk. I'm going to open this part. So here's what I've got. I've got 3 terabyte up here, and I don't have any other space, and these are mechanical hard disk. I want the computer, the operating system, to run faster, so I bought the Samsung SSD 850 Pro. This is just for me to enhance the performance of this PC, of this workstation. So because I don't have enough space, that's why I bought that, and I want to create a space just right underneath the DVD drive here, and that's what I'm about to show you in this particular video. Alright, because this particular one is there's no bracket to hold the SSD drive, except I just drop it in there. Let's take it out and see what we've got. Now, to take off these the bottom rack here, or bracket here, just hold this flap, hold it out, and then you'll be able to slide it out. And this is what I've got. So there's no way for me to position it or to hold it in there. That's why I bought this all-master bracket. And the reason why I bought two is because they're kind of different, so I don't know what I'm gonna get. So I decided to order both of them. And the first one is this, or one of them is this. And this is how it looks. There's a flap here. Let me see if I can show you. It says All Master, and let's bring it out and just see what we've got. Now in here I've got all the screws, and this is another screw, and also the front here is kind of open, which means I need to break off this part and then slide it into this to cover this part. I think this will be good for some kind of ventilation into the SSD drive, but I'm not really sure if this is the one I want to use. And I'm gonna look at the second one, take out the second one as well. Let's see what we've got in there. And here's the second one. Just taking it out for the first time. And it's got the manual as well. As you can see, kind of different, but let's take a look at everything. Got the screws. I'm gonna separate this one and then the last. And there are 2 perforated holes here, which should be able to hold the or match the hook on the inside. This one only has one here, so I'm not sure which one is going to hold perfectly in here, but let's see what we're going to do. So I'm removing these, and I'm going to be replacing it with one of these. Alright, I've made my decision. I think this will be a lot better for me. They're both the same thing, same spec. The only thing, as I mentioned earlier, you need to break this part and insert it here, and you can just push it up and just take it out. But I'm going to be using this one, and the SSD drive can just go in here, and then you can push it up and the screws will be able to go here. I think I'm going to. So as I was saying earlier, the SSD can actually, or this bracket can take up to 4 SSD. So you can have one going on the top here, and then the second one here, and the third one can actually go in here as well. and then the fourth one in here. The fourth one here, and you've got the screws. They are well labeled, screws there. And then for the rack, I've got about 4 of that here. I don't think I'm going to need this anyway because of the way this workstation is structured. I'm going to be using the first one first. I'm not sure if I should use the top one, or I'm going to go top or bottom. I'm going to go for the top. Quite a bit of indecision there. Alright, I think it will be best to test this to see if it's going to fit correctly, though I can see that they are of the same dimension and I think it should work fine, but it's best to actually put it to test. Let's insert it. Now, the same way, before you insert it, you need to make sure you open this flap so that it can slide in. It seems like it works better, and you can see where you can use the screw for the rack. So that is going to go in here, which look really pretty here. The only thing is, like, we're having 2 makers here. HP Allmaster, but this is really perfect. I'm going to take it out again. Now I'm just going to use the screws. Alright, there might be a bit of a struggle now to put to use the screwdriver to hold this SSD. If you look at the back here, I have a big finger, so sometimes I really cannot push it through to push it up. So what I'm gonna do is this. I'm just gonna hold it this way. Right. All right. So I just push it upside down this way, and then I'm gonna start screwing up. That's just it. And once you're able to do one, the other should be quite easy. Push this up. All right, it's been put in place. And something I did not mention earlier, why I thought this bracket or this rack would be important, is because this does not, the one that came with it does not have an exposure at the back here, so it's kind of difficult for me to insert a cable, the data cable and the power cable for this SSD. I'll show you something here. This is the power cable and this is the data cable. So it was kind of difficult for me to use this one. I'm not going to talk about this any longer, so we just focus on the main thing here, and then let's push this in since we've got it in place. Yeah, that's it. Now I just figured that it's gonna be difficult for me to insert the cable because this place is really concealed, as you can see, and the power cable is not very long. This is the leftover power cable that came with this workstation. So what I have got to do is to take it out. I'm finding it a bit difficult because this power cable is not very long. So what I've got to do here is to take out this DVD drive, and to do that, just gonna take off the data cable first, and then the power cable. Then I'm gonna open the flap. That's the way to take it out. Now I've got these out, and then I'm gonna deal with this aspect. Now I've got more room to complete whatever I'm doing here. So this is done. That's done. That would be the easiest way to do this stuff. I don't know. Let me just show you from this side as well. All right. Then I can push. Now I can push this back in. There's a bit of a conflict on this side as well. There's a bit of a conflict with the cables here, so I'm just going to figure out what to do in this aspect. Alright, there seems to be a conflict here because the power cable is not very long and I cannot push this in without hitting the power cable. So what I'm going to do is to change the position of the SSD. I'm going to take these out, remove the power. Right, just need to take it off from the top and put it to the one at the bottom. And I'm going to be using a different power cable when I eventually get another, or when I'm about to insert the other SSD drive for the top ones. Right, I'm just going to put it back now to avoid that conflict between the SSD and the DVD drive. I've used the bottom slot, one of the bottom slot there. Did you hear that click sound? Usually you should be hearing that whenever you put the rack in and it's in place. And let me put the power cable. I think this should work this time around. Put in the, yeah, and this is a lot better, low position. Get that click sound. And I'm gonna put power for this one to the top. Yes. Alright, you can see I've been able to avoid that conflict between the cable for the power cable for the SSD drive and the DVD drive itself. The next thing here is to use insert the data cable for the SSD drive in one of the SATA ports here. Put it in number 4. No, number 3, SATA 3 it says. Just gonna put it there, and then a bit of cable management, not really necessary at this point, but here we are. I've been able to complete the installation of the SSD drive, and the next thing I'm going to do is to transfer the data from the hard drive into the SSD drive. I'm going to share that with you. I need to connect the workstation, the CPU to the screen, and we'll take it up from there. Alright, everything is back in place, and I just want to pull the cover back, and then we're going to be working from the screen this time around. That's back, and I can lock this up.